Hi, and welcome to a very special edition of The Music Scene. We're at Park City, Utah for Sundance, and as you know, music plays a very important part of movies. We're going to be talking to some of the directors and actors, so stay tuned right here on The Music Scene. Hi, and welcome to The Music Scene. I'm your host, Stephanie DeGraw, and we're at Sundance. We love it here, yes. And we're so excited to have Lynn Shelton here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Lynn is very busy, and we're glad that we were able to snag her for a moment. And we're excited to talk about her current project, which is $5 Cover Seattle. And I understand it's a web series.
Yeah, it's a web series that is executive produced by MTV.com, so it'll be there when it's launched.
Right, and that's where we can go check it out. And Lynn has been out in Seattle filming a band, and tell us about the band, who they were, and why you chose them.
Well, there was actually 13 of them.
And you were doing all of them, not just one. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a feature film, really, but it's in little chapters, webisodes. So it's 12 little 7-8 minute kind of short stories, chapters. You can enjoy one on its own, but it's nice to see the whole thing because there are little narrative threads that go throughout the whole thing. It's really like a postcard from Seattle through the lives of these musicians, and so I wanted to portray them as they actually really are. It's not a documentary, though, because they're actually acting out little scenarios based on their lives, sometimes recreating stories that they actually told me. But you get to see them hanging out with people that they would really be hanging out with in places they'd really be playing. And then you get to see a whole bunch of amazing music. So every single episode has at least one, if not two, musical performances. So it's really a nice kind of way to sample just a slice of what's going on in a very vibrant music scene in Seattle.
And what gave you the idea to get into this project? And I really want to hear the backstory.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome because it was really born here at Sundance. This whole idea, this whole concept is the brainchild of Craig Brewer, whose career was really launched here in 2005 with this film Hustle and Flow, which made a big splash. MTV Films actually bought it, and he met David Gale, the executive producer of $5 Cover Seattle. So when Craig Brewer had this idea to kind of make a portrait of a city through its local music scene, he came to David Gale, and he created the first one called $5 Cover Memphis, which is online now. And then they wanted to go to different cities and find a filmmaker to kind of spearhead the same notion at other cities. And so David Gale saw my movie Hump Day, which was in dramatic competition last year, won a special jury prize at Sundance. And within like a day and a half after my world premiere, which was at the very beginning of the festival, I was hearing about this David Gale character who was like on my trail trying to get me to do the next one. And so it took a little bit of finagling, a little bit of convincing, and then I realized it really was a great fit for me because I'm a huge music lover and I love Seattle, which is where I was raised and where I live now. And so it was a great fit.
Definitely, and that's exciting that they saw your movie and then decided you were the right person for the job. So that's pretty exciting.
A lot of it had to do with the technique in which I made my feature film, because I used a very structured outline instead of a script, and we had two cameras, and so we sort of shot it documentary style, and that's how Craig had created his version of $5 Cover, because we're asking musicians who are most part non-actors to actually act out scenarios. And so I find that if you don't have to ask them to read lines, it's going to come out a lot more natural and a lot more relaxed and convincingly. And so I was just having them play themselves, and it was great fun, and it was exactly the kind of way I like to work anyway as a director. So
that was tremendous. Yes, you've been involved with a lot of different projects in the past, and it's exciting that because of all those projects, you've now been able to combine all your passions in this film. When you were working on the project, was there anything that kind of surprised you about the whole music scene and the musicians themselves, what they go through? I really admire all of the musicians that I met and all the ones that I came to know of, the ones that I couldn't cram into this project enormously.
they really sacrifice a lot of them. You know, they've chosen a path of, you know, following their passion, following their bliss, following what they sort of have to do because they're compelled to make this music, you know, and they're living well below the, you know, I mean, at sort of poverty level, but they make the most extraordinary music. And it's just, to me, that combination, that juxtaposition is really kind of mind-boggling. And some of them are raising families. I mean, it's just an amazing thing to behold, and I'm completely in love with all of them, and I'm really happy to share their lives and their passion with the world.
And a lot of people don't really know what it takes to be a musician, so it's great you're shining that light on them. And we were wondering too, as you go as a filmmaker to do a project like this, what were some of the challenges and what were some of the things maybe hard and some of the things maybe easy?
Well, I mean, the thing that I was most worried about was I going to be able to work the way that I like, which is a very chill vibe on set, a very relaxed atmosphere. And the way I've done that in the last 2 of my feature films is to just strip away and have only 3 or 4 crew members with me and just have it very, very kind of low key and tiny. We couldn't do that this time. I mean, it was a really big production. We had 50 or 60 cast members, I think, all told. You know, if you combine all the different bands, as well as actors that we threw in here and there. And tons of locations because I really wanted to go all over Seattle. So it was a big crew, a big cast, lots of moving around, a big mobile home unit, just not the way that I'm used to working. And so I was really nervous to see if I would be able to translate my kind of culture on set that I like to create to a bigger production, and it totally worked. I realized that as long as you have, even if your team is bigger, as long as you have the right people around you, you can do whatever you want. And so that was great to know. And then, you know, just working with folks who aren't used to acting in front of the camera and really trying to figure out the key to unlock each one of them needed a different, you know, kind of touch to make them feel at home in front of the camera. And that was just endlessly challenging and really fun.
Yes. So you've got to bring it out of them, bring out their inner actor.
Exactly.
And that was a lot of coordination too that you had to do, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, luckily I was the director. So I was the producer during it as I was developing it. I got to choose the bands and I got to figure out the whole scenario and what exactly was going to happen creatively. But then once we were into prep, I basically handed it off to producers and said, you can take care of all the practical aspects of it now.
In closing, what would you say now the future holds for you? Because you've been an actress, a filmmaker, director, and all these great opportunities have come to you now through Sundance. What are some of your future plans?
I am in development on 4 or 5 different projects, you know, going from Hump Day Style, which was made really, a bunch of my friends and I got a camera together and kind of, you know, just made a film. So I still want to make movies that way. It's really fun, empowering way to do it. Up to much, you know, multi-million-dollar movies that will be more like the real deal, you know. And so, yeah, I don't know what's going to come through first, but I know, you know, 2010 is going to be an awesome year.
Yes, it definitely will be. We so appreciate your time, and it's been great to get the insight into a filmmaker and what you go through doing that. And I hope you can all catch her web series. It's $5 Cover Seattle, and she's got a lot of great bands on there. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stephanie DeGraw, and I've been talking with Lynn Shelton, and this has been The Music Scene.
Don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger.
First you give a kiss and then you take it back, son. Alright, right on. Come on. Alright, right on. And I gotta get a little beat. Come on, baby, give a little beat. And I gotta get a little beat. Come on, baby, give a little beat for the love. First you give a kiss and then you take it back, son.